Hello, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be working on my background and landscape drawing. Again, specifically drawing nature because it seemed a lot easier than perspective, so that's what we're going to do. I made some notes in my sketchbook about what I was seeing when I was looking through different pictures and what I was noticing, things like free-flowing and just little things like that. I found a picture of a waterfall that I really liked and decided that I was going to apply these little notes to that picture and I was going to sketch it. So that's what I ended up doing. There are these 3 stairs on like the waterfall that I started to draw, and I was noticing the water vaguely resembled hair, and I'm kind of okay at doing hair these days, so that's like how I decided to think about it. The water was kind of wrapping around the rocks, and yeah, that's kind of how I was doing it. Then I started to sketch out like how each of the shelves of the cliff flowed and like how they were placed. So sometimes the rock would like jut out, and that's kind of what I was trying to mimic. I have a little bit of experience drawing things like cliffs and like mountains and stuff, so if you've looked at my super old videos from like 2 years ago, I know, so old, I used to draw these cliff thingies, and so I've done it kind of before and it's turned out good, so I was trying to mimic that when I was doing it. Then I sketched in some trees and tried to make the trunks look as natural as I could, like a little crooked and twisting instead of completely straight, along with some blobs that could be bushes. I was really trying to keep it pretty sketchy here, because I honestly wasn't expecting it to turn out that good. But yeah, I really like how it turned out. So yeah, sounds like the next course of action is going to be things like rendering, because that was one of the things that I was a little bit worried about. It was honestly really fun and kind of easy to do these little sketches and stuff, but the rendering is how, like, that's just always the hardest part, because if you do something wrong, then there's like this chance that like, oh, it's gonna look really bad because all the shadows are in the wrong place and it's the wrong shade of green and all the greens don't go with the browns and etc, etc, etc. So that would be the hardest part. Maybe that's what I'll do next. Maybe I'll take a picture of this sketch and try to like paint it a little bit. That sounds fun. Maybe that's what I do. But yeah, I actually really liked drawing this. It was super relaxing. I was just kind of listening to things and just sketching it out. And I really liked doing the leaves and like the trees and figuring out exactly where I wanted all of the trees to be put. I kind of changed it a little bit, but I was also studying how the balance of the trees and the bushes on either side of the waterfall worked in the picture, but I didn't want it to be exactly the same as the picture that I was referencing off of, so I did change a few things. But like, I was also looking at that top part where the very top of the like shelf is kind of disappearing off into the distance, and I was trying to convey that with the trees and study how the trees looked in the photo and why exactly that specific way of how the trees look convey the distance and how it's going. I don't know if that makes any sense. It makes sense in my head, but I always explain these things really weirdly. So yeah, those were the few things that I was looking at. And then my favorite part was this little shelf of rock that I had in the picture. And I was like, that's perfect. I'm using that. I was really not excited to draw this bottom part with the pond, just because I felt like it was going to be really hard, but it wasn't that bad. The main thing was the texture of the rocks. The texture of like the cliff and stuff is like really, really hard to get right. I just felt like it was either like the shadows were too dark and too much like lines, or they weren't dark enough and weren't conveying what I wanted it to convey. But I ended up going in and kind of fixing it later, so we'll get to that soon. But yeah, I really liked doing this. When I finished with that, I took my kneaded eraser and I lightened the sketch and I went over it again just to define things. I felt like the sketch was getting pretty muddy. I'm really glad that I did this because I really liked doing it. Like defining all the shapes again, but like in a cleaner way. So like all the lines aren't as overlapping. But yeah, this was a pretty fun thing. I did do another one on the other page of like the sketchbook spread, but it didn't turn out as good. I'll put a picture on here right now. this is kind of what it looks like, and I tried to have like the tree coming off the side of the cliff, but the leaves didn't really turn out, so it's fine. Anyways, I'm just going in and redefining all of the things, like the waterfall and then the cliff faces and then the trees and stuff, just like we did before. Basically the same thing. But yeah, it was really fun. I really liked doing this one. I think I need to do more of them just because they're so fun. I feel like I like nature more than I like doing perspective and buildings and stuff, but nature is harder to color and to shade than regular buildings are. If I have this sketch for the building done, I'm good. I'm great. That's wonderful. But actually sketching it is the hard part, whereas I feel like it's flipped for like nature stuff. Whereas nature stuff, it's very hard to render and it's hard to shade, but the sketch is like really easy to do. But yeah, that's kind of my opinion on those things. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your guys' day.